am not an adventurous person. Like at all. The most adventurous thing that I can think of that I did happened not too long ago. A friend of mine wanted to go to a reptile convention. I didn't have an excuse that was good enough, so I said yes. It was actually pretty fun. We looked at some of the exhibits, learned about the different animals they had. It was nice. Fast forward a few hours and I'm holding a snake.
Alright, so left hand is going to be the tail, going around your shoulder.
His name is Jake the Snake from State Farm. He likes the sun, and according to this lovely lady, she waited until Jake was already on my neck to tell me that he's the constricting kind of snake. Now, don't get me wrong, I love trying new things and exploring new places, but when it comes to extreme adventures, I typically tap out. But that's where Naughty Dog comes into play. Jak and Daxter did well, Crash Bandicoot did no differently. However, they really began to make a name for themselves when they released Uncharted in 2007. Now in my Uncharted 4 video, I mentioned that this was a game that I never wanted to return to. I was afraid that I wouldn't get the same feeling of adventure and discovery if I went back to it. But then I remembered that this was the fourth in the series. Clearly, I was missing something by not playing the first game that started it all. So, as someone who has never played the game and knows next to nothing about it, does it still hold up?
Are you sure you want to be defiling your ancestors' remains like that?
You make it sound so dirty. Besides, thought you didn't believe me.
Uncharted mainly focuses on Nathan Drake, Elena Fisher, and Sully! My boy!
Alright, Nate, just pretend for a minute that I don't really care about any of that stuff and cut to the chase, would you?
Oh man, is it great to see Sully, especially back to see where it all began. What kind of crazy adventures did Sully get up to in the first game?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, Roman. He's got nothing to do. Sully!
Yeah, so I'll cover this quickly. It should come as no shock that I wasn't surprised by this. Mainly for two reasons. First, and this should be obvious, I already played the fourth game in the series, so I already have a good idea as to who dies and who doesn't. But more importantly, even if I hadn't played the fourth Uncharted, the way Sully is shown here is that he is a main character. The chapter you play in before his death makes you form a connection with him. I love that Naughty Dog was trying something new here as compared to their previous works, but I might have held on to the death of a character, real or fake, until a bit later. After Sully's death...
Nothing to do.
I'm doing air quotes, but with my eyes, see? I can't wink, all I can do is this. That's all. The rest of the game mainly focuses on Elena and Nathan. They've only just met within this game, but I could not relate to Drake at all. In the fourth game, Drake is an adventurer who clearly loves and cares for the people he keeps close to him. He knows when things get too dangerous and when to back down. Here...
Hey, this isn't gonna be a vacation, you know.
I can take care of myself. Besides, you owe me one.
It's as cliche as ever. Typically, Elena is with Drake to level him out, but they don't have that connection yet. It feels as though Naughty Dog was trying out the character dynamic as a test run to see if it would work. Speaking of the characters, I'm not ashamed to admit that I completely forgot about Eddie until making this video.
Going somewhere?
Hey, Eddie!
Did you really think you could escape from what?
When you look him up, he's described as a major antagonist, but I just remember him showing up every now and then to make fun of Drake.
Seems like this Sir Francis was in my line of work.
Don't flatter yourself, Eddie.
Always ready to be enemies, eh?
Roman was okay, and I like how his obsession over getting what he wanted was done, but again, it was something we've already seen before in other games and movies. As for Navarro, Roman's right-hand man, he was a background character who just wanted some more screen time. Anyway, back to the story. Elena and Drake keep solving puzzles, killing the bad guys.
Elena, I can't hold on! Give me your other hand! You've got to let it go!
Damn it!
Wait, pause it, right there. Why did she have to drop the camera? Hold on, wait a minute. So we know that Elena is a news reporter, and she typically goes on adventures such as these. Maybe not to the same extreme, but she would need a camera that she can carry on her own for a few hours at a time. Now, I don't know what exact model she has, but a close one I can find is a Sony PXW FX9K camera. It took way too many attempts to get the name of that camera right, and way too much research. Let's assume everything is attached to the camera. That makes it about 11 pounds. We've seen Drake toss people over his shoulder, climb for extended periods of time. He's a very fit individual. Doing intensive research on Google, Elena is about 120 pounds. Add that with the camera. How can Drake not lift 130 pounds? She could have tossed the camera onto the rest of the bridge so she could at least keep the footage for his show. I do get it.
It's symbolic and shows them growing closer to each other.
But man, I thought this was just a weird scene. And it doesn't stop there, oh no, because just before this, they discovered that Sully is actually alive. How?
You are not gonna believe this. Huh?
No way. Old Francis took a bullet for you.
Yeah.
I thought this kind of thing only happened in the movies.
Yeah, well, it still hurt like a son of a bitch, I'll tell you that.
I'll keep this explanation much shorter.
All right, just as I thought. That sliced through that book like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, no, as much as I hate to say it, Sully should be dead. Fast forward a little bit, and Eddie shows back up. Drake and Eddie must now team up as they defeat... What is happening? Uncharted has a tendency to make things go south real quick and without warning. So these things show up, and while I don't like them, they do kill Eddie. So props. We do get to learn more about them, but only from when the game goes from an action and adventure game to a full-on horror game.
Oh, shit.
Drake travels these long hallways and has to kill these things, which we learn are actually, and stay with me here, called descendants that were once people before they came into contact with El Dorado, which is actually a statue, not a place, and for some reason, they just kind of look like this. Sound like a lot of information? Well, don't worry, because not only are they here now until the end of the game, but that is the only information we learn about them. Speaking of the end of the game, this was one of my favorite parts overall. I enjoyed having to plan out my next moves. The people you've been fighting are now also going against the descendants, but both primarily just want to kill you. This goes on for a while, but it does make the whole scene really enjoyable. But the very end, and the final boss... Yeah, it's rather disappointing. I get that it's Naughty Dog's first adventure into this kind of storytelling, but the ending could have been expanded upon just a bit. Now look, I know I talked negatively towards this game a lot, but overall I really did enjoy it. The characters are all a bit different than from how I knew them, but that makes sense since this is the first game in the series. That is one thing I've noticed so far between Uncharted 4 and Uncharted 1, I never felt like I was lost. Sure, there may be different paths to take, but at no time was I ever confused of where to go or how to get there. Uncharted 4 had really clever puzzles, and so did Uncharted 1. In fact, I'd go as far to say that I enjoyed the Uncharted 1 puzzles far more than the Uncharted 4 puzzles. Perhaps it was because they were simpler, but I enjoyed them nonetheless. What I'm curious to know is how we get from this to this within 2 more games. This was definitely a test run to see if Uncharted would work, and it absolutely did. So let's keep the adventure going with Uncharted 2: Among Thieves.